Here's the shocking truth about corporate censorship in America. When comedy crosses political lines, even Disney bows to pressure. Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show is making its comeback to ABC this Tuesday, but the story behind his week-long suspension reveals a troubling reality about free speech in entertainment. The Walt Disney Company announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live will resume broadcasting after what many are calling a knee-jerk reaction to political backlash. But here's where it gets controversial. Was Disney protecting public sentiment, or did they cave to political intimidation? Let's break down what actually happened. Following the tragic shooting death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, Kimmel made pointed remarks during his Monday night show about the suspected gunman, Tyler Robinson from Utah. The comedian didn't mince words when he criticized MAGA supporters, stating they were desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Those words ignited a firestorm that would ultimately cost Kimmel his platform for an entire week. Disney's official explanation came wrapped in corporate speak. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. The company acknowledged that some of Kimmel's comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. But was this really about timing? Or was it about protecting their bottom line? And this is the part most people miss. The suspension didn't happen in a vacuum. Two major ABC affiliate station owners had already pulled the plug on Kimmel's show in their markets, essentially forcing Disney's hand. When your distribution partners start jumping ship, even the House of Mouse pays attention. The backlash was swift and merciless. Conservative voices on social media launched a coordinated campaign demanding Kimmel's termination, while Trump supporters expressed outrage over what they saw as unfair characterization of their movement. The controversy reached fever pitch when Federal Communications Commission Chairman Brendan Carr stepped into the fray during a Wednesday podcast interview, suggesting there could be consequences for TV stations that continued airing Kimmel's show. But here's where the plot thickens. Not everyone on the conservative side agreed with Carr's approach. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, hardly known as a liberal sympathizer, suggested that the FCC chairman had overstepped his bounds. This created an unexpected opening for Disney to navigate between competing political pressures while attempting to preserve their network's credibility and First Amendment principles. Meanwhile, the entertainment industry wasn't taking this lying down. Creative community members rallied to Kimmel's defense, viewing his suspension as a dangerous precedent for editorial independence in late-night television. The protests reached a crescendo outside the El Capitan Theater on Monday, where demonstrators gathered to denounce what they called censorship. One particularly memorable sign read, "The mouse is a cowardly louse," a not-so-subtle jab at Disney's corporate mascot and perceived cowardice. The situation became even more complex when high-profile figures like radio personality Howard Stern announced they were canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions in protest. This consumer backlash forced Disney executives to confront an uncomfortable reality. Their decision to suspend Kimmel had thrust them directly into the center of America's toxic political divide and the ongoing national debate over free speech boundaries. After days of what Disney described as thoughtful conversations with Kimmel, the company reached their decision to reinstate the show. But what exactly transpired during those closed-door discussions remains a mystery. Did Kimmel agree to tone down his political commentary? Will there be new editorial guidelines governing his monologues? Disney isn't saying, and Kimmel's representatives have remained conspicuously silent. The broader implications of this controversy extend far beyond one late-night show. We're witnessing a real-time case study of how corporate entities navigate political pressure in an increasingly polarized America. When entertainment companies find themselves caught between activist consumers on both sides of the political spectrum, who ultimately wins? What makes this situation particularly fascinating is how it exposes the complex power dynamics in modern media. traditional broadcasters like ABC must answer to affiliate stations, regulatory bodies, advertisers, and increasingly vocal consumer groups, all while trying to maintain some semblance of editorial independence. It's a balancing act that's becoming more precarious by the day. The question that should concern every American, regardless of political affiliation, is whether this incident represents a one-off corporate overreach or a new normal where political pressure can effectively silence entertainment voices. Are we witnessing the gradual erosion of the irreverent, boundary-pushing comedy that has long been a hallmark of American late-night television? Here's what I find most troubling about this entire saga: the chilling effect it might have on other comedians and commentators who tackle controversial subjects. If Jimmy Kimmel, established host on a major network with significant star power, can be silenced for a week over political commentary, what does that mean for smaller voices in the industry? As Kimmel prepares to return to his ABC stage Tuesday night, all eyes will be on how he addresses this controversy. Will he come back swinging with his trademark political commentary, or will we see a more cautious, sanitized version of the show? And perhaps more importantly, will audiences accept whatever version of Jimmy Kimmel emerges from this corporate timeout? This story is far from over, and it raises uncomfortable questions about the future of free speech in entertainment. So here's my question for you. Do you think Disney made the right call by initially suspending Kimmel? Or did they cave to political pressure and betray their commitment to free expression? And looking ahead, should comedians and late-night hosts be held to different standards when discussing politically sensitive topics? Or does their role as entertainers give them broader latitude to push boundaries? Let me know where you stand on this, because this debate is just getting started.